Welcome to Botter's Muse Podcast. This podcast is all about staying ahead of the curve through the implementation of personalized one-on-one conversations with your audience. We focus on designing personas, the conversations they are having, and the technology that is enabling the dialogue. Here are your hosts, Hans and Jerome.
Quick note before we start, apologies for sometimes a little bit less audio quality. We're traveling, so next time that should be better. Enjoy the show. Hi there. Welcome to episode 5 of the Botter's Muse podcast. Jerome is joining as well today.
Welcome.
So we're going to kick this off, and some great new stuff in the area of research. We reviewed the Jamie Oliver chatbot, and based on the question, we're zooming in on course creators like ourselves. So from that perspective, let's get going. And this is a little bit what we're going to cover, and all about voice commerce. Also, what I mentioned, the bot, and then great quote. We also find a great quote, which is always on our list. Now, the first one, quick reminder, guys, if you're really fond about bots and how you want to implement them, please visit our mini course, botimplementation.com/PMC. You will dive into this, and Timbo will guide you through the course about the pitfalls, about some change in communication, but definitely also check out module 3 about the bot implementation formula, which will guide you through how to successfully implement one-on-one conversations with the bot. So first off, the research. Jerome, both like cars. So I saw this one. It was already communicated.
Alexa, yeah.
Right, yeah. And of course, the communication, which I left out, but that Lamborghini is implementing Amazon Alexa in their cars. So basically a voice bot we're talking about here. Also on of course, biggest electronica show in the beginning of January in Vegas. They also communicated this, which I really liked on the left-hand side for the people that watch us on YouTube, but podcasters, Amazon Alexa in your car, link with Amazon Pay, and what you can do, you can pay your gas at the gas station with a partnership with ExxonMobil. Now, I was first thinking like, okay, what the heck does this do? So I did dive a little bit into it, and that's why also what you can do, you drive up to the gas station, and as you have an Alexa car enabled, you can basically say, Alexa, which is also the visual, pay for gas on pump 4. Then the communication, what's going to happen is, of course, with the gas pump, in this case, ExxonMobil only, what they're going to launch, but at least they know that you're in that car. They know, of course, you're indicating that it's pump 4, and then they will shake hands, so to speak, I always say, and you can get out of your car and then pump the gas and then leave, and everything is being paid for. So I think it was really cool, especially when you have a Lamborghini. But let's see how quickly Amazon is going to embed this all. So an Amazon enabled
on this one, Hans, honestly, because I went into it a little bit as well with all the research, and effectively they've already got 10 car manufacturers on board. So right. GM is the big boy, speculating in the US, who's applying it on a lot of the brands already, or it's coming soon in the first quarter basically of this year. So your car needs to be able to have the functionality either integrated, or you have also the add-on app, which is linked to your mobile device. So that's the Echo solution. But they're moving very fast, I have to say. It's BMW, VW, Audi is doing it now on the new e-tron, so they're focusing a bit on the EV side as well, with the share that they have in the EV platform as well. Right. So it's becoming quite widespread in that sense, and we'll see lots more moving forward on this one. I think in Europe the capabilities are very far still with this one. The penetration is not that high, but it should be interesting to see it here coming here as well.
Well, it's really interesting. What you're saying is that a lot of the car manufacturers and the car brands are adopting the Amazon Alexa technology embedded in their cars. Yeah. What I also looked at real quick is to stay, of course, on top of it is what the trend is in voice commerce sales, as they call it. This is really voice commerce, voice bot commerce and selling. And you see it definitely staggering. I don't know if it's all true, but at least the sources OCNC is that I found some research in 2018, but at least it was 2 billion the voice commerce sales in 2017, and they expect it to be 40 billion in the US and in 2022. And going to 5 billion, and you can see the difference with the larger economy, but whatever, but at least it's also pretty significant in the UK. So yeah, voice commerce, paying with voice, and with Amazon Pay, definitely Amazon wants to get the foot in the door in more payment than only in retail and their Amazon Go stores. So yeah, that's definitely the case. So.
But also, I mean, from the data that you had as well, you could see the adoption in Europe being considerably lower on this one.
Right.
Think,
yeah. Especially on
they're
voice.
really playing catch up on this, and let's see how it's coming on there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But soon, let's hopefully this Lamborghini is driving in front of us, so that we can get this going. All right. Cool. Next one. So as last episode, in episode 4, where we discussed the Levi's bot. We now got for both our food lovers, we started to look at the Jamie Oliver bot. So
yes.
So the interesting thing is it changed a little bit over time, which will come up later about this. But the cool thing is I will first go into the formula about the why. And then, Jerome, you will more focus on the what, like what type of conversations there are. Right. So the formula really defines like what's really the foundation for whom is it. So we will cover that one as well. So in this case, for whom, where does it interact and where does it start? I will cover that real quick, and please do so to add. And what's the goal of the bot? Because yeah, it's definitely for food lovers, of course. Looking at the conversations and the personas and food lovers that are on Facebook. So although the communication is not very clear on where it starts, at least to communicate it on definitely on a lot of websites and a lot of interaction. In the previous bot, they changed it over Christmas, but we'll go into that later. But definitely Facebook engagement, it's a Facebook Messenger bot. So besides the Levi's bot of last week, very critical, the channel that they chose is Facebook Messenger instead of the website. Now the goal, and yeah, I totally agree with you on this one, Jerome, is yeah, convenience, IDs that you want to have, and definitely drive traffic to the website with recipes. So inspire people with recipes and then present the recipe on the website. Where in the journey, it's definitely related to Christmas, in this case, how it is set up now. It still is. So if you still are inspired to go for a Christmas dinner after the middle of January, then this is the way to go. Just kidding, guys, just kidding. But they haven't changed it yet. And we were, by the way, surprised to do this coverage because it's changed during Christmas, which is really cool, which is really neat, because before it was a little bit different. So so from that perspective, it's really cool there. Yeah, anything to add there, Jerome, before we go to the what?
No, I mean, the only thing I have to say, and I have to admit, I'm a bit of a Jamie Oliver fan, honestly. I love the convenience part and so on as well. And honestly, they've done it in a similar style and a similar method on which they do the TV shows and so on as well. It's really the same type of typology, etc., and the engagement as well. So honestly, it's very nicely done. I have to admit.
Right. So moving on, that was more of the how. Who is it for? What's the goal? Inspiration, etc. A convenience way of looking at the recipes. And Jerome, you will dive into that. But now it's more onto the what, right? So the personas and their conversations. Technology, not so much. We covered that already with that it's Facebook Messenger. But in the bot implementation formula, we really covered the what, and that's first personas, and then second, the conversations we are having. So in that sense, definitely an interesting part where we made a video of the bot, so we will also put that in the link in the show notes of what it actually does, and you can show that as well in there, and that way you have also a little bit of the experience on how it looks like. So in the show notes, it's there.
Yeah. So
And,
just to interrupt, Hans. I mean,
yeah,
basically
sure.
what we have here is the two vids. So the first page is basically showing the way it looks now. So when you go into the messenger, you can still retrieve it by simply going and searching on the name and searching on the app as well. And it sees a little bit of the engagement that you can have with the bot itself. When you go to the next stage, then really there what it is, and that's what we both like very much, is the original format, where they were really working a lot with the bit of a humor aspect, a little bit of the buttons, the icons, and so on as well, which made it a little bit more sexy, a little bit more engaging as well. But they've done it, I have to say, in a very friendly and funny way.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that the second one, just to iterate for the people that only are listening, and again, go to the show notes, botimplementation.com/5. That's where the speaker notes are, where the video are. In the second one, which now of course disappeared, you could indeed type in an apple with an emojicon, and then you will get some apple suggestions, and you could do that with the avocado and melon and carrots. So that's really cool. The other one is more on the recipes for Christmas. Yeah. So let's dive into first the personas, right?
Yes. So here, okay, so you have the overall private engagement, personalized engagement, the standard engagement, which basically, or the standard personalization aspect that everybody does. The only thing which is a little bit of a sad moment for me, honestly, is, again, here they're not highlighting that you are effectively engaging with a bot. So they leave it very much in the middle. It is what do you want to do. So they're not talking on whether you're engaging with a live chat or whether you're engaging with anybody else. Ultimately, it becomes clear, but let's follow the rule that everybody is straightforward, upfront in terms of, guys, you're engaging with the bots, and let's just put it in there. I mean, it adds a little bit of lines, but it gives full transparency to the customer and to the consumer as well.
Right, I agree, and of course, for the people that are only listening, the bot icon is Jamie Oliver in text, and the name of the bot is Jamie Oliver. So from that perspective, that makes sense. Only the bot, yeah, it's a bot, and it doesn't open with, "Hey, I'm a bot X" or whatever, and that just pretends a little bit that it's Jamie Oliver himself. Doing this.
Or you're engaging with a brand or anything like that, but it's not clear that you're engaging with a bot effectively.
Correct. Yeah, that could be potentially improved. Yeah. So then, of course, currently they mention it as the interactive roasting guide. What you start with, that they welcome you. That's cool. And then the next step is that they ask, what are you planning to cook? So so that's really cool. Yeah. So next one, the main conversations.
So the main conversations, and honestly, this they've done very nicely. They've done a very, very simple setup with a main menu coming back in any element. So it's very, they put a little bit of content on each of the manual. They have a simple selection opportunity in there, getting things such as tip. I'm roasting something. I want something about the leftovers, a little bit of a humorous aspect in terms of LOL. But it's a very simple menu which is coming back in every aspect that they do. It's coming back in a kind of rotating way. So they've done it in a simple setup, and it's very nicely done, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it's cool. They can you can click on roast, you can click on leftovers, you can click on tip in the bot, which is really very nice, interactive, which is starting really a one-on-one conversation, and that's definitely really cool. Yeah. All right.
And from a user-friendly behavior, it is very, very easy to use as well, to be very honest.
Right.
Yes, you can do some more iterations in terms of clarifying what is behind it, but honestly, you can see it immediately when you select the carousel.
So yeah, I think it's really great that when you make a certain choices and how you want to bake it, in this case you made it a pie or something. I don't know what you are planning to cook for the family, Jerome, but it's an almond pastry puff. So well, that's really cool. And indeed, the link is then to the website. And again, the menu comes back then again, and in the carousel you can nicely scroll, which always works in a bot very nicely. So.
Yeah, so what I did was I played a little bit with the menu, went through all of the individual choices that you could do. So what I did here is, and what you can see as well on the page, is I selected the tip. You get a tip in terms of you need a little bit of advice, you need a little bit of inspiration in terms of what you want to cook, etc. So they automatically come with some fed data, not really specific to what an inquiry is, but a simple tip in terms of this is what you could do. Then next to that, you have another element, and which is always coming back to his web shop. So it's the revenue on the books is a key aspect for their sales, and it drives the overall engagement. So here what they've done is you get a link, you click on it, you get a link to the Amazon website even, whereby you have the opportunity of basically purchasing the books.
All right. Oh,
and
it's
it
even
goes
to
like
Amazon. It's not to his own
and
website, right? He's
Yep.
pushing everybody to Amazon. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's including
If you use Apple, and in Switzerland, they immediately go into security page and so on as well. So it's a tricky thing to do in order when you start pushing people towards exterior pages, to be very honest.
Right.
Because the replies can be very varying dependent on provider and what your setup is in a specific market.
But I thought you mentioned this as well on the slides. But the thing is, they only, like with the tip, they get two suggestions, and then also the book at the third one, right? Something it's like that, or right? Yeah.
No, they kept it very simple. It's just one suggestion even. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
okay,
only
cool.
one suggestion, one book.
No.
So they've minimized it as much as possible in terms of content as well. The original format was much wider and much heavier in terms of setup. Here they're going to very limited elements, but it's interesting. I mean, it's a little bit the way his web page is working as well. You get tips, you get suggestions. Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? But the main point is main point is really about advice on how to,
Right.
and naturally then the push towards the books, the push towards his website or his recipe pages.
Right. Cool. Yeah, we should have tested if that pastry puff that is there on the list is also in the book. Otherwise, your host, of course. But that would be funny. All right. Roasting quick tips. That was also something which I found really interesting. So what's that about, that conversation?
I mean, for me, to be very transparent, and this Christmas as well, it was a pain, to be very honest. I hate turkey. Yeah. It's maybe nice to eat, but it's a pain to stand in the kitchen and cook the bloody thing. Right. So what is nice about this is I don't know how many web pages I always have to scroll through into the how long do I need to cook, how much this and so on.
Yeah.
From a convenience aspect, this is golden. You select what you want to cook, what you want to roast.
Right, yeah, the options are turkey, lamb, pork, beef. All right, or what do you plan to cook? Yeah.
And even vegetables. So it's really, they have the full selection in terms of the entire food scale, effectively.
Oh,
and then they give tips in terms of how long, what you can cook, the weight of the bird, for instance, what is the type of meat that you have, etc., etc., etc. And they give then the cooking techniques behind it, which is really, you need to do it this long, this mean, blah, 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 blah. And I have to say it's very, very well done. Then underneath, what they push again is the recipes. So it's again the link towards the webpage, which is his core asset effectively with all the recipes and so on.
Well, I like it a lot that you first that you have to choose what to have. You picked turkey, then you have to indicate like, okay, great, how heavy is it? Well, when you buy that, of course, and then it proposes like how long it takes to prepare and what you need to do to check it, and how the oven temperature should be. I by the way, it was very interesting. I thought the and I haven't tested it, but the temperature they indicate in Celsius for the US people and US folks, the Fahrenheit would be a little bit better. But I don't know who he's targeting, but that was the thing that I looked at. And then indeed they switched to the website and saying, hey, go here to further stuff it and put the stuffing in and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's
exactly.
very nice. Yeah, cool.
It's a really nice engagement. You have the carousel going back and forth and so on. It's nicely done.
Cool. And if you have leftovers, Jamie can help.
Exactly.
What's that about?
So here it's again, they use the same format again. So you get a tip in terms of these are the leftovers you can do. Very much Christmas related, so of course in this case, the leftover turkey that you have, where they give you a recipe again with a link towards the book, towards the webpage. And naturally, if you want and if you're interested, because all the recipes were so great, again, we go to the web shop. So it's always this recurring carousel. It's a very simple business model, effectively. But it drives always this engagement to either his core asset, which is the webpage, or towards book sales, which are either on Amazon available.
Right. Cool.
And then it comes back to your standard menu again.
Okay. Main conversations, some fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean they've integrated, because everything is otherwise so dull and so on as well. So they've integrated the simple LOL button. You can see it on the video as well. The LOL button simply, I mean, it does something fun. It just gives you a very, very corny joke with a little bit of an answer from the bot as well, with a bit of delay and so on. And then again, it goes towards the message from Jamie Oliver and the book sales, which are always a recurring topic. And again, you are back towards your standard menu, which is the rotation. So they've really done it in a nice rotation as well. Your menu is the main aspect.
Cool. Important. Some critical conversations that we always preach to our clients. The fallback scenario. Yeah. Break the bot.
So here you can type in whatever you want. And believe me, I've tried. And they've done it very simple. I mean, oops, we don't understand. So that's the general reply. But please select something from our menu.
Right, they immediately present the menu again, right?
Yeah, they come back to the menu, you stay within the menu cycle, and that's a little bit the lack of engagement. I mean, it gets boring after a while, but yes, these are your items that ultimately drive it. Yeah?
Sure. But no live chat, right? Engagement, that's not the case here.
No.
All right, excellent. All right, anything else you would like to mention before we move on to the next topic in the podcast?
No, I mean, for me, the only weak point to all this is the entry. So where do you start with the engagement? For the rest, overall, it's a simple setup which they've done. I very much like it, and it's in line with our philosophy as well. It has small steps. It's really the small step. You have a very clear purpose in mind, which is either drive towards book sales or either drive towards our website.
Yeah, marvelous.
They've done it in a very simple, smart manner with a little bit of humor and fun as well. The only sad thing about that is that they haven't highlighted the bot aspect. And naturally, after a while, you will need to pimp up a little bit the engagement here, because this will get boring if you keep doing this on a continuous basis.
I agree. The fun thing was, of course, first they have the emojicon searching with the ingredients. Now they have this one. So we're curious on, as food lovers, what's coming next, right? So hopefully they're going to communicate to us. It's a little bit tricky because they don't engage with us, that they don't want to know anything about us. So with the 24-hour window, it's going to be a problem to communicate to us that there is new stuff in the bot. And so perhaps they can ask a phone number or email so that they can inform us when the bot is changing. But that might be a nice thing for the next one. That would be my feedback. Now, as you guys know, we do the bot health score, as we call it. We have a conversation health score in our training and our mini course as well. And also the link, you can submit your bot. at botimplementation.com/submit. So we definitely want to review it, or Jerome's going to do that. Just joking. But the thing is, he has plenty of time. The thing is, we then will review the bot and, of course, ask you politely if we can cover it in our next episode of the podcast. So, all right. Next one. It's more about the conversation opportunities in a certain field of interest. And we focus in this one on a course creator. As a course creator asked us in our regular format on how can I engage with my students. So we have a persona, the students, and how can we engage with our students, potentially start one-on-one conversation. How can a bot help? So we're going to use the model again, and you can look in the show notes, but the model again of the process, and we will go through this. So thanks a lot for the question. Of course, we're course creators ourselves, so let's go through this. So yeah, in the search phase, I will kick this off. You can do the next one if you oblige,
Yep.
Jerome. But the first one, of course, people are searching for content, and they're on your website, and you can engage there with a bot, potentially with the trigger to start the conversation, to present the lead magnet, to present the mini course, or that they will start engage in the 5-day challenge. You see more and more challenges these days that you help them, guide them through in a 5-day or 30-day. So when they're searching on your website, finding the problem that they need to be solved, you can definitely hook them up. What we do is they potentially can go to our mini course, right? And we help them through that. So
yeah, and I think a key point here as well is you have a lot of opportunity to get the information from your potential consumers as well, from your potential students. So take that opportunity, ask questions. And by asking questions, you automatically have this engagement aspect back and forth, and you have a much clearer understanding of what their purpose is, what they're looking for, and so on as well. Naturally, then you come to the compare section phase, which is really about helping them select, offer the various opportunities, the various courses that are available, take them through it, and with the information that you gathered in the search page or phase already, you can even drive certain specific content. Yeah, if they highlight that they are looking for, I don't know, a specific master course, don't come back with a beginner's course. That it's a simple aspect, but it's easy to do with all the personalization as opportunities that you have within the softwares.
Well, lastly, I took some courses from Google, and they definitely asked me up front, which was only a website, which was a bummer, but that's just me. But that you fill out how experienced you are with that certain topic, and based on filling that out, so that's a very good point. You get a proposal on which course to take. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, so we go from search, then we compare, and we now go to decide. So yeah, from that perspective, possible options you have here is, of course, more diving into their needs, more needs analysis on what their biggest challenge is currently in the topic that you cover as a course creator. And yeah, more engagement, of course, builds trust. So asking more questions related to their situation, what they are. We have also focusing on different target audiences with our courses. So it's definitely critical to know who is visiting your website, who is in the bot, and what they're experienced about and what they do. Another thing is you can, of course, ask them more info and saying, hey, are you up to this? Are you planning to do this currently in the next month or so, to really start the conversation, what you normally would do, asking somebody face-to-face certain questions. I think that would definitely be my how-to tip, at least for this area as a course creator. Just pretend that you're talking to somebody in the elevator or just on the bike or in a restaurant, and ask them like, hey, what do you do? Okay, great. Or what are you up to? What is your biggest challenge currently? Oh, and when are you planning to find help for that, or are you going to find it yourself, right? Where can I help? That kind of stuff is always good to understand, and definitely in the decide mode, where they're closed, or they know your offering, where they know your course, and they have done potentially a mini course or a lead magnet or a webinar, you can definitely help them as well to propose the next step. Now, up onto purchase, right?
Yeah, just onto the side phase as well, and basically along the entire journey, make sure that you don't fall in the trap of becoming the pushy salesperson. It is a give and take. So when you ask questions as well, give back a bit of information as well. It is a conversation. It is not a sales pitch. So imagine yourself being in a store and you have a salesperson hounding you behind. Don't do the same in the bot as well. It is about engagement, and be very clear, you don't have the person in front of you. The bot is engaging with them on your behalf. So be very clear in terms of which questions you asked, but at the same time, what are you giving back, or what is the feeling you're giving back towards a consumer as well in that engagement.
Good point about the the person who's haunting you in the store. I recently bought a coffee machine, and the person was continuing to haunt me for, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? And I already twice said, I will look around first and I will get back to you if I need you. But yeah, it's always funny. Yeah, yes. Yeah, okay. Hey, so on the side of the purchase, what's then their critical? Well, yeah, that's definitely you can communicate them about new content. Potentially they're intended to buy, like new podcasts, new stuff, to stay engaged, to indicate that you definitely want to give value as well, and continue to give value with a webinar enrollment or enrollment of a class. It's of course critical to get some kind of urgency, which you can communicate as well in the purchase phase. Yeah? So we covered the search, to compare, to decide, and we're now up to the purchase of the course. Enrollment information potentially, and what you now see often happening is a discount code that would be of interest as well, with a limited time offer, that kind of stuff. You can of course communicate with them and start a conversation if they're interested. First ask potentially, right? Are you interested in a discount code? You don't have to send it and only have communication. See it as a conversation. That's definitely what we learned a lot about this there. Yeah. Anything you would like to add, Jerome?
No, I mean, it's you more or less took all the words out of my mouth.
Cool.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no.
So let me take use then.
I mowed, as they call in Europe, I mowed the grass in front of you. Right. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So in the use phase, which is following the purchase phase, here it's really about the reminders. So keep in mind, guys, you subscribe to this session. It's starting then and then. It's really about keeping that engagement as well. Let them answer the questions, and here is the ideal thing. Your bot is on 24/7. So even when you're asleep, it can still engage with consumers halfway around the world who are living in a different time zone and so on as well. So your world is and your means of communication is really broadening dramatically. And
yeah, if it's a webinar, it's definitely good to send them a reminder like it's getting started, it's tomorrow. And indeed, when they have an on-demand course, potentially they potentially run into troubles. So
exactly.
Yeah, and in the use phase, that's another thing.
Busy, so.
Yeah, right. And in the use phase, yeah, you can let the bot, of course, ask for feedback, how they like it, and all that sort of stuff. So that's definitely what you want to do. General feedback, or 1 to 10 feedback, or 5-star feedback review. But in the use phase, it's critical to engage with your audience and request some more information. Now, last but not least, evangelize phase. So we have purchased it, you use it, and then you evangelize it. And yeah, we always say try to have a good rating, and it's in the 8 of 9 or the 10 or a 5-star review. You hopefully can you just ask them saying, hey, invite others to send those to the lead magnet, the mini course, or the final course. So that would be the ideal conversations that you can have.
Word of mouth is really its weight in gold in that sense. So use this to the maximum. Let other people promote your product on behalf of you. And you don't have to reward them for it, but even that is something you could think of, and use the bot for that as well.
Yeah, and promote the course to 5 others, and receive a discount code for the next level course.
Exactly.
If you're proposing a curriculum, and you have a foundation course which we have, and we also are launching a master course. But then the next step after that, you could also provide discount in this to give them even an incentive to promote it to others onwards, because that definitely helps. And the bot can do that, of course. When you invite people, you then send them the discount code, and you use the discount code, again communicating for a limited time offer potentially. That's only valid 30 days or something. That sort of stuff is all very much possible. Of course, with the bot, doing the one-on-one conversations 24/7, that's definitely ideal thing, besides sending email yourself or only communicating stuff. So that's for the course creators, based on the question from the audience: how can I potentially implement a bot for course creators? Okay, if you want to ask us a question, this link is also in the show notes, botimplementation.com/ask. So do you want to submit your bot? botimplementation.com/submit, and otherwise botimplementation.com/ask. So good to go. Ending with the last one, the quote.
I like this one, I have to say.
Right. Yeah.
You found a very nice one.
Well, yeah. I just went to search for it, and then for quotes and stuff. And I think, the good one is, and here it comes: be brave enough to start a conversation that matters, right? So it's by Beauvoir, an author, which makes a lot of quotes. I saw a lot of them, which I really liked. But the cool thing is, you start conversations and just do it, but definitely think, and that's definitely our value and principle and ideas as well. What we believe is, at least don't start a conversation for the sake of starting a conversation, but at least start a conversation that you think of what's the goal and why do I want to do this, and especially stand in the footsteps or the footprints of the other one that you're talking to, right? Or what's in it for them when you start the conversation. So that's.
And I think not only that. I mean, if you look now at all the customer data in terms of consumer behavior moving forward, consumers are looking for relevance, and they're looking for really content, not just engagement on the basis or conversations on the basis of blah blah. But it's really about a certain relevance in a brand, certain relevance in terms of what they want to engage with. So this is really spot on in terms of future development as well. And let's face it, I mean, it's why we started the entire company.
Right. Cool. So, folks, that's episode 5 for now, and ending with the quote. So if you are interested in looking at the video, the link is in the show notes as well. If you, of course, would like to give us a review, then the link is there as well on iTunes. That's the only place. So that's botimplementation.com/review. So it would be much appreciated. If you have questions, submit a bot, please do so. And in the meantime, if you want to have some great collateral and some stuff, you can do our mini course if you have not done so. And that's on botimplementation.com/PMC. So that's all for now. And happy botting. And up to next week. On Friday, we're going to launch the next one. Hey, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.